Welcome to the final part of our taxes and money management unit. Spending plans is the last part that we'll be going through. I'll just click over here in Moodle to remind you what we've covered already. The taxes unit, statement of financial position was first, income and expense statement was part 2, and part 3 is spending plans. So we'll be going through this presentation. The note-taking guide is right here for you to fill out if you'd like while we're going through. And then we'll be talking about the Brown family, advice for the Brown family, and the spending plans worksheet. So let's get started on spending plans. So where's my dough? So imagine that you have a chunk of Play-Doh, or it could be anything, a chunk of cookie dough, a chunk of marshmallow, and that you have to divide it up. So what expenses do you have? How much do you spend on each expense? The Play-Doh equals your income, so that one whole dough is all of your money, and then where is it all going to go? So divide it to see how much is spent on each expense. From there, you could write a goal. You don't have to do that, but think about, okay, so this big chunk was towards food, this big chunk was towards entertainment, and then think about any goals you might have if your savings part might be smaller. Is it realistic to achieve your goal based on your current spending? You might need to adjust your Play-Doh, add more into your savings, and take out some from the entertainment section. And by doing this, this is the very basics of developing a spending plan, which is very similar to our income and expense statement we did in the last unit. So what is the spending plan? An income and expense statement, sometimes referred to as a budget, which records both planned and actual income and expenses over a period of time. So a budget is another plan for a spending plan. You can see there's a planned amount column and then an actual amount column to see if what you planned was actually what you spent in that area. Why is a spending plan an important part of financial planning? It helps you manage your money in a positive manner, increases your net worth, helps you set and reach goals, and analyze the opportunity costs of your trade-offs to maximize financial well-being. So the money management tools are working together. We've referred to this puzzle pieces a lot. We did what our position is today, our assets, liabilities, and our net worth. Our income and expenses, what we did in the past, and the spending plan is for our future. So we budget an amount, but is that actually what we end up spending? So that determines what changes to make, and then we can make our changes. It's a forward-looking income and expense statement. So by having a planned amount, we can say, okay, this is what I plan to spend in each of these areas. I can use the same template. You can use the same template for the income and expense statement and the spending plan. So we're going to talk about this process and all of these steps together, working together. So this is the developing the spending plan, step 1 and step 2 and step 3, and then maintaining is step 4 and step 5. So let's start with step 1, tracking current income and expenses. That's completed by developing an income and expense statement, and it ensures the spending plan is realistic. So congratulations, you've been hired as a financial advisor for John and Tia Brown. And we have developed a statement of financial position and income and expense statement for them. So what they want to do is increase their emergency savings fund, pay more on their car loan so it's paid off faster, spend less money dining out at restaurants, and spend less money on clothing every month. So your job is going to be to develop a spending plan for the Brown family. So how are you going to develop a spending plan for the Brown family? That's what we will talk about next. So step 1 is to track current income and expenses. So we kept all our receipts for the month of January and created an income and expense statement. And you should have that sheet of paper. It's in Moodle as well. And it looks like this. And it has it looks just like the one on the screen. It has all of their expenditures for January. So what you need to do is just review January's income and expense statement to get a better idea of their income and expenses. What are they spending their money on? How much are they spending? It'll give you a better understanding of their situation right now. Step 2 is to personalize the spending plan. So how will you develop a spending plan? What's your intended time period? And what categories will your spending plan include? So how will you develop it first? Any written method works best, but notice written is underlined. It needs to be paper, pencil, spreadsheet, money management software, apps, anything that's actually written down and not just in your head. So what do you think would be best? What's the intended time period? It usually works best with a pay period, so you know you're getting cash in and then what money going out is doing. And then what categories you're going to use, you'd look at your income and expense statement, and do you need to remove any categories or add any categories? Maybe you recently bought a pet, and so now you have to add in a category about that or something like that, that you'll have to kind of monitor your categories. So step 2 then, they are requesting a spending plan for February. They want the same categories as the income and expense statement. So we need to find the column on the income and expense statement where spending plan can be created, which I'm sure you can see right over here. So now we need to allocate money to each category. That's step 3. So we look at step 1 and determine what changes to make. When allocating money, consider trade-offs and opportunity costs, goals, and contractual expenses. A contract is required to pay for an expense. You can't just get rid of it, like your rent, internet, and cell phone bills are bills that have to be paid every month. Non-contractual is easier to reduce, such as food and entertainment. That's kind of our general guide that we've talked about in this class before, and what percent should be in each categories. Again, this is rough estimates. Things can come and go, but we only have a whole pie is our income, and we have to decide how to best spend that. So net gain or net loss is at the bottom. Income minus expenses is your net gain or net loss. And if you have a net gain, adding money to savings or another expense is your best choices for your money. And if it's a net loss, you have to either increase your income, decrease your expenses, or both. So in step 3 for the Brown family, we need to allocate money to each category. Those with a star can't be changed. Either their contracts or the family is unwilling to change them. So remember their goals and consider their trade-offs. And they must have a net gain or a zero balance. So you can start filling out this February guide, keeping the stars the same, moving the same numbers across, but then how can we alter some of those other numbers? Developing a spending plan for them is your job. Explain each change made and rewrite goals into SMART goals using their new spending plan. You do not have to write it into a SMART goal, but you can look into your packet that you have, and there's some steps to help you monitor this section. Then we get to step 4, implement and control. Make your plan, spending decisions, and use a control system to stay on task. You can use computer software again, like we talked about, another internet-based program. You can use a program from your bank or credit union, your check register, where you just write all of your checks and your debit card transactions, or an envelope system, which would just mean you put a certain amount of money in an envelope for a certain category, and when it's gone, you can't spend anymore. So what control system do you think would work best for you? Think about the different choices and think how your budgeting system would work best. So in the Brown family, you need to recommend a system for them. What do you think would be the best system for John and Tia? Whether it's envelope or internet-based or any of those that we discussed, money management software. And then a very important step 5 is evaluate and make adjustments. How well did your spending plan work? Is your spending plan helping you reach your goals? And do you need to make any adjustments? John and Tia realize that if they dine out at restaurants less, often they'll need to increase their grocery expenses, which makes sense because they still need to eat, so grocery bills might be going up. So you need to increase their grocery budget by $20. And how has developing a spending plan helped the Brown family? So your whole plan, February, should now be filled out to see what their net gain or net loss would be. Make sure you change the grocery budget. And it can help you now and in the future to manage your money. So in summary, a spending plan is an important financial planning tool. It helps you achieve goals. Make your spending plan work for you. And make sure to control, evaluate, and adjust your spending plan.